A reading from the letter of St. James. Beloved, where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every foul practice. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, compliant, full of mercy and good fruits, without inconsistency or insincerity, and the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace for those who cultivate peace. Where do the wars and where do the conflicts among you come from? Is it not from your passions that make war within your members? You covet, but do not possess. You kill and envy, but you cannot obtain. You fight and wage war. You do not possess because you do not ask. You ask, but you do not receive, because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
But he did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching his disciples and telling them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him. And 3 days after his death, the Son of Man will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to question him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house, he began to ask them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all." Taking a child, he placed it in their midst, and putting his arms around it, he said to them, "Whoever receives one child such as this in my name receives me. Whoever receives me receives not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
All of us pass through 3 stages in life: youth, middle age, and maturity. Each of these 3 stages have a corresponding passion. The passion of youth is the body. The passion of middle age is power or ambition. The passion of maturity is wealth. None of these passions is base in and of itself. No passion ever is, but they become base, however, in excess, and when consented to against right reason and the law of God. And those who live in excess and consent against right reason and the law of God in their youth usually live in excess and consent against right reason and the law of God when middle-aged and when they mature. The object of their passion changes, but they have not. In youth, the object is the body, namely lust. In middle age, the object is the ego or the proud mind, namely egotism. And in maturity, the object is things outside the body and the mind, namely greed. Of the 3, lust, egotism, and greed, lust is the easiest to master. because the excesses of lust create their own emptiness. But egotism and greed are very difficult to cure because they are inflationary sins. Excesses of flesh deflate, but pride and wealth swell the ego to a point where we can come to believe that we are truly great either because we think we are great or because we judge ourselves to be great because of what we have rather than by who we are. This morning's gospel addresses those sins that dominate in middle age, namely egotism, pride, and selfishness. One day, when the apostles were quarreling among themselves as to who was the greatest, our blessed Lord placed a child in the midst of them, and as an example, that the littlest is the greatest. And he said, anyone wishes to be first shall be last, and the servant of all. So in God's eyes, true greatness is indicated neither by great abilities nor by popular applause. A talent that any person has, such as a talent for sports or singing or speaking or writing, is a gift of God. He might develop his talent, but having the talent deserves no more merit than a child with a beautiful face. Rather, the richer the gift, the greater the responsibility to serve. When our blessed Lord said that the first shall be the last of all and the servant of all, he made the measure of greatness not ability, but service. Serving others. Because serving others is good as it represses the ego. Aristotle said that the two most degrading tendencies in a human person were toward bad temper and unregulated desire. Either one or the other is present in every egotist, as serving others is the last thing on his mind. He either gets mad at others because they don't praise him or to do his will, or he seeks his own pleasure at the expense of the shame of others. Thomas à Kempis, a Catholic priest of the late medieval period, is the author of The Imitation of Christ. It's one of the most popular and best-known Catholic devotionals, and it is widely read in seminaries. And regarding this very topic of egotism and greed, à Kempis wrote, anyone who places all of his trust in people who are in other created things is foolish. Do not be ashamed to serve others. Today's gospel. For the love of Jesus Christ, or to appear poor in the world. Do not rely on yourself, but place all your trust in God. Do what you can, and God will bless your good intentions. Do not trust your own knowledge, nor in anyone else's cleverness. Rather, trust in the grace of God, who helps the humble and humbles the proud. Do not take pride in your own possessions, if you have any, nor in any of your friends because they are powerful or influential. Instead, take pride in God, who gives all things and who wishes to give himself above all. Do not brag about the size or the beauty of your body, in which a little sickness can spoil and disfigure. Do not be pleased with yourself about your ability or your talent, lest you displease God, from whom comes the sum of whatever natural good you have. Do not think that you are better than others, lest you appear worse in God's eyes. God knows what we are. Do not be proud of your good deeds, for God's judgment differs from ours. He's often displeased with what pleases us. And if you have any good qualities, believe that other people have better ones. By doing so, you retain your humility. It does you no harm if you place yourself beneath everyone else. It does you great harm, though, if you place yourself above even one other person. A person who is humble is always at peace, but a proud person carries a heart filled with envy and resentment. Our blessed Lord centers his message around a child. So rid yourself of egotism, pride, and selfishness, and think like the parent of a child. If you are a father, do you not like to receive the tiniest little gift, such as a candy cigar from your son? And why do you value that candy cigar more than a box of Coronas from your friend? If you are a mother, does not your heart find greater joy in a handful of yellow dandelions from your little daughter rather than a dozen roses from a friend? Do these trivialities make you richer? Do you need them? Would you be less without them? Yet you love them. Why? Because your child is acknowledging your love, your goodness, and by doing so, they are perfecting themselves, developing along lines of being service-oriented rather than egotistical, modest rather than prideful, kind rather than selfish, and in so doing, the child is happy. Whoever receives one such child, in my name, receives me. And whoever receives me, receives not me, but the one who sent me.